you okay? I think somebody should call an ambulance.
What's wrong with him?
I don't know.
911, what is your emergency?
Hello, yes, our teacher's just collapsed.
What's your location, ma'am?
We're at 312 Main Street, upstairs, second floor. Please, hurry, send someone.
Okay, an ambulance is being dispatched now. Send someone outside to wait for EMS.
I'm gonna go wait for the ambulance.
Okay.
Dispatch to EMS Unit 1. A crew is needed to respond to 312 Main Street for an unconscious person. Possible heart attack. Cross streets are West Street and Myrtle Street. Your timeout is 1000 hours.
When an emergency occurs in your town, you know you can count on your volunteers. How many you can count on is another question. The pool of available EMS volunteers has diminished to dangerous levels. This problem is not isolated to your community. It is mirrored across the nation. Families need dual incomes. People work longer hours, farther from home. Family commitments limit volunteer hours. People have other volunteer interests. In addition, population growth adds to the demand for emergency services. And the strict training requirements make it difficult to enlist volunteers.
Dispatch to EMS Unit 1, your second tone. A crew is still needed to respond to 312 Main Street for an unconscious person, possible heart attack. Any responding personnel, please contact dispatch. Your timeout is 1003 hours.
If your EMS service has staffing problems, how do you address the problem? Do you find yourself relying more and more on the scramble method, hoping that someone is around and available to respond? Do you rely on mutual aid services to pick up the pieces, even though chances are they are experiencing the same problems? Do you rely on a commercial provider, which may not have any available units, or whose closest ambulance may be several towns away?
Dispatch to EMS Unit 1, your third tone. A crew is still needed to respond to 312 Main Street for an unconscious person, possible heart attack. Any responding personnel, please contact dispatch. Your timeout is 1005 hours.
EMS Unit 1 to dispatch.
EMS Unit 1.
Status of our crew?
EMS Unit 1. You are the only person we've heard from. No other technicians available. Starting mutual aid.
Roger. Standing down.
Have you ever been impatient while sitting in a traffic jam, or standing in a long line at the bank, or to buy tickets for an event? Have you ever witnessed or come upon an accident? Have you ever been a first responder where you are alone on the scene? How do you feel in these situations, waiting and waiting for help to arrive? Like every other industry today, EMS does have the technology and services available to improve emergency medical services in your community. This service is called a management service organization, or more commonly known as a staffing company. The concept is simple. We partner with your organization to ensure your staffing needs are met, because without adequate staffing, your system will fail. Simply stated, in the time it has taken you to watch this presentation and understand its concept, a crew is already on the scene at the call we witnessed in the opening scenes. This is important because we know it is not acceptable for a child choking or a relative having a heart attack or an elderly fall victim to have to wait 10, 15, or even upwards of 20 minutes for help.
Historically in our town, we had always used a commercial ambulance provider during the day. And though that worked, it didn't work as well as we wanted it to. And we knew we could do better if we tried it on our own. What the MSO did for us was it allowed us to bring those people on board. We could use people who knew the system, knew the town, knew the equipment, and we could really maximize what they could offer, not only to us, but to the community as well. The integration of paid and volunteer staff was one of our biggest concerns right out of the gate. Our organization had never had paid employees before, and we were very concerned about how that would affect the environment. And working with ERM, with our staff, really made a tremendous impact. They knew the things that we were worried about, they knew what our concerns were, and in fact, the actual integration of paid and volunteer staffing worked out far better than we had ever anticipated. Very seamless.
When the chief of the ambulance corps first presented the idea of having an outside staffing company come in and provide coverage for the daytime in our town, I was hesitant, as most of us were. Now that I look back on it, I can't believe that it took us this long and other companies in other ambulance corps are so hesitant to go this route. It's been entirely seamless, and the process has been, in my opinion, unbelievable.
ERM helped us tremendously, and I think the greatest benefit that we've experienced is through partnership. We're both doing the same thing. We're both trying to accomplish the same goals with the same mission in mind, and that's to deliver quality care to the community and improve response times and be there when the call comes in. And it's that spirit of partnership that I think has been most beneficial.
The things I find rewarding about working for emergency resource management is that I can still volunteer with the organization that I am employed with.
An EMS chief with staffing problems, I think more than anything else, really needs to realize that he has options. Going to paid staffing isn't a failure, and in fact, considering it and thinking outside the box and recognizing that there's a different way to do things is really a mark of great management and leadership.
If I had to give a piece of advice to a volunteer who's presented with the same problem that we were, it would be that your image as a volunteer will not be compromised. You're respected for what you do, not who you do it for.
I've been in EMS for almost 10 years. I've seen a lot of different systems. I've seen systems come very close to failing and go to their own paid staff hired through the town. I've seen systems do a pay per call. I've seen systems do gas reimbursement. And I feel that ultimately you need to just pick up the phone and call a place like Emergency Resource Management.
Let's see how the same scenario presented at the beginning of this presentation would go if that agency partnered with Emergency Resource Management.
Dispatch to EMS Unit 1. A crew is needed to respond to 312 Main Street for an unconscious person, possible heart attack. Cross streets are West Street and Myrtle Street. Your timeout is 1000 hours.
EMS Unit 1 responding.